That is last year's 2011 chassis. When we get the Spa for the WEC, that will be a 2012 car and very different. Are you ready for this, Jeremy?
Absolutely. This is going to be absolutely tremendous. The weather is perfect.
And they've jumped early. The two Ingolstadt monsters are off into the distance. In fact, all three of them, as the Muscle Milk HPD is having a sniff around the back of fourth place. The two Rebellions going through there as well. But a great start from the leading Audis.
Yeah, the Audis, you know, they're the class of the field, no doubt about it. But the petrol engine cars, much closer this year.
And look at the number 12. This is the Neil Yarney driven Hop Suisse, I say, for my mother-in-law. Happy Mother's Day for everyone in Europe this weekend as well. And Neil Yarney already up a position. There's the Strata Racing car looking racy as well at the moment. The three Audis, well, we have a problem for one of the main runners in the GT category, and that is the 45 Flying Lizard.
Didn't even make it to the
He got hit before the start, I think, Jeremy.
Oh, look.
Now, if I was a detective like my father, I would say that was a clue.
Yes, damage on the front on one. We didn't see the damage on the rear of the other car because the car was turned towards us, but you've got to assume that's the problem. There was also a problem for another GT car in a warm-up. Number 17 Falcon Tires car blew its engine, and we thought that was going to be no chance of it in start race. We just heard, though, that they fired up that engine and they're making out on track. Whether it made the start race, I'm not quite sure yet, but an amazing effort by that Falcon team to change an engine in an hour and a half.
Well, drama right at the start of the 60th anniversary running of Sebring. Let's go to Kelly Stavist.
Well, Patrick Long took that 45 Flying Lizard out for the morning warm-up. He was complaining throughout this session about the handling problems. I saw Jörg Bergmeister just before the start of the race and asked him if he thought they had it sorted out. He said, we're hoping it was just cold tires, but I guess I'll find out when I get on the track.
Yellow flags waving, white flags waving for the course vehicle, also slippery surface flags as well. There's oil down on the circuit or some kinds of fluids, and that was for the Lizard on the driver's right there going into the final corner.
Yeah, driver's left, I think it was going into the final corner. I think it saw some various activity out there as they come down the ALMS straight, but boy, what a disaster for two real contenders in the GT class.
Alan McNish then leads by 7/10 of a second in the number 2 Audi from his teammate Marcel Fester, the pole sittler. So in all of that kerfuffle, McNish has already got to the head of the field. In third place, Timo Bernhard in the number 3 with Klaus Graf, the leading ALMS car. Remember, WEC and ALMS combined here. There are 2 ALMS specific classes in the prototype challenge cars and the GTC cars. And then it's Neil Yarney for Rebellion. Johnny Kidd, what a start for the Ulsterman in the 21 Strata Racing HPD. Now, let's take you back a couple of days to the always exciting night practice on Thursday. This is at the hairpin turn number 7. And as you can see there, the Momo car gets turned around, hit by the Rebellion, and then hit by the number 3 Audi, which then gets collected pretty comprehensively by its team car, and almost gets the 3rd Audi as well. Quite remarkable. So the 3 and the 1 Audi with difficulties. There are visibility issues out the front 3/4 of those cars, but as you can see, the team has done a great job in turning them around, and the whispering Ingolstadt Giants are back on the circuit.
Especially when you have 63 cars, and I think you're going to see more of that this year. As I said yesterday to the guys that were listening, the prototypes and the GTs are becoming much better under braking. They've got a huge braking performance and mid-corner speed now, and we don't have the straight line speed in prototypes to pass them as easily. So everything's been funneled down to the apex of a corner. That's where everything's happening. So I think you're going to see more contact this year than ever.
Yeah, I think kudos there to Marcel Fester, because he was able to, crank the car to the inside. Yes, he lost it. Yes, he spun, but he didn't. I don't think he hit anything, and that is the important thing at this stage in the race, particularly.
Is that likely to damage the tyres in any way, shape, or form, or was he not locked up long enough there, Marino?
I think you're right. It didn't look like he was locked up too long. So I think Jeremy said earlier, these tyres are very resilient now. You don't get a little lock up and then you have bad flat spots. It takes a lot more to flat spot the tyres. Michelin do fantastic job there with the durability. So I think he'll be okay. He looks like he's straight back onto pace, so he doesn't look like he's suffered any ill effects.
It is amazing, really, how you can do that sort of thing. You can lock up the tires, you can spin, and it doesn't cause nearly so bad as flat spots that it used to in the past.
Sorry, that was me with the sharp intake of breath as he got, for me anyway, a bit too close to the left-hand side. Very, very close to the wall there in turn one. Of course, we saw Christophe Bouchou clip that in practice earlier on in the week. What we're seeing now is absolutely, what the driver says. Actually, it's better than what the driver says from out of that Audi, I think, Marino, isn't it?
It is. The Audi, they certainly struggle with their forward vision between the pillars of the car, and also the wheel arch has been so big with these huge front tyres. It's not a very pleasant place if you're trying to see what's around you.
For the rest of the season will be the 3 cars, 0-3 here. I know it's complicated and we're still getting our heads rounded as well. That's what it looks like from the roof. And listen to the thrum, the steady thrum of the V8.
It's cool. These are gorgeous cars. I love the new cars, the new GT cars with a wider wheelbases, wider tracks on these cars. They just look great. They're beautifully proportioned.
Yes,
particularly on the Porsche, I think. It's not just wider wheel arches on the thing. The whole thing is really nicely balanced. It looks like, and the drivers love it. And they say over the bumps in particular, the car is so much better than in the past.
And you'll notice one other thing that's happened as a result of widening out the car. On the fenders on the right and the left side, they've also added the engine air inlet. It used to be in the back on the top. And the concern they had was they had hot air coming out the radiator going over the top of the car and into the engine. They feel that now that they've widened out those fenders, they get more cool air coming in on the side. So not only does it help in terms of the track and the traction, but they feel it gets more cool air into the engine.
Yeah, that's a good point, and you can see that clearly. Marino and I both fans of wide-bodied Porsches, and if you look at it, when we next get a chance to look at a Porsche, those air intakes are pretty much like the turbo versions of the street cars, very much form-following function, but yeah, as Jeremy says, they do look great. Remind me a little bit of the old Group 5 cars going back a few years that were real monsters.
Yeah, like 935, yes, stuff like that, exactly. Yeah,
those of a certain age.
Brutal, though. These are very sophisticated lines on these cars nowadays, but those 935s were fabulous to look at.
The leading American Le Mans Series runner throughout this race so far in the prototypes at the head of the field has been Muscle Milk. Klaus Graf is out of that car. Lucas Luhr is in. That means Klaus can talk to us down in the pit lane.
Klaus Graf led all the petrol-powered cars out there for that entire first stint. How was the traffic? It seems like a few small incidents, but maybe it's settled down a little bit from the practices throughout the week.
Yeah, I was glad to see that. I think everybody used their heads at the moment. Track is in pretty good condition. The pickup gets a little bit more, but everybody was pretty cautious, so I was happy to see that. And Muscle Milk car was running good, and so far so good.
We know you don't have the power of the diesel cars, but you double stinted those tires at the beginning. Where are you going to find your advantage that can give you an opportunity to win?
Well, I think we're a little bit better on consumption, fuel consumption, and we just want to stay with them at the moment, and we'll be there. We'll hopefully be there at the end, so as long as we can hang with them, we're in good shape. And by the way, happy birthday, Hunter.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Petrol cars won the Green X Challenge last year against the diesels, so there is an opportunity there. In 3 laps that they went longer. I have to admit to the fact that was Marino who told me that. I didn't carry that fact around in my head, but was that you guys that won that? On board with Muscle Milk. And Lucas Luhr back at Sebring as he heads down towards the hairpin. He's got 4 cars ahead of him, 3 Audis and the Rebellion, and the gap between McNish and his teammates is steadily growing. Of Ryan Hunter, sitting rather cosily actually in 11th position in the overall standings. Only the 3 Audis on the lead lap at the moment. They have managed to gap the field. So our wonderings and musings about the performance balancing are beginning to play out just a little bit. Leading the petrol-powered charge in 4th position is Neil Yarney for Rebellion. Lucas Luhr in the Muscle Milk car is in 5th position, and the best of the ALMS runners. Bertrand Baguette, Bertie Breadstick, is in the 15 car, the York Racing car, in 6th position.
Yeah, which started at the back of the pack.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, failed the stall test.
Charge up through very quickly.
It's good to see Baguette in, another young driver who, you know, has had Major League international experience coming to sports car racing and, you know, enjoying it. Karan Chanduk is the other driver that we could put in that category. And they're both seeing that they're having to learn brand new skills.
Yeah, very much so. Bertrand Baguette, he drove some limited IndyCar schedule with Rahul Letterman Lanigan Racing last year, so it's good to see him now. Hopefully that'll be a full-time ride for Bertrand Baguette.
Nice to have a bit of clear space ahead of you with all the cars that are out there. It doesn't happen so many times.
We've got the RSR in PC prototype challenge class. We've got Bruno Junqueira back into the lead of that class now for RSR. In 2nd place in the class is Brian Frizzell in the 06 car for the Core Autosport team. Good to see Bert Frizzell, I should say. Good to see Bert here in that car, and of course he's got a 100% record in LMS. I don't know whether I'd ever thought I'd hear that, because that's Jordan Taylor. Yeah, he's a star. I mean, he's a great young man, in and out of the car. He is a class act, and he's been driving in the Rolex Series last year. Very nearly won the championship, actually, driving with Bill Lester in a Camaro, and now switching. He's got this great opportunity this year to do the long distance races with the factory Chevy.
Look how quick it is in a straight line. The Lotus not able to get by as they were going by Peter Lasafra in the 34 GTC Porsche. This is looking back from Jordan Taylor. Yes, he got the call at 20 years old, but he's deserved this.
Oh, boy, he has.
This shows you exactly what I'm talking about, though. The straight line speed is not different enough between these prototypes and the GT cars, so it all comes down to braking in the middle of the corner. And the GT cars are braking very closely to they have performance comparable to the prototypes now there.
Here's a prototype challenge car coming up behind Jordan. This is the Merchant Services Racing number 7 car that you can see. In fact, Jordan's probably got that view too, because he has an electronic rear view mirror, by which I mean a TV screen.